Welcome to the September 25th, 2016 guitar blog lesson on composing minor key chord progressions. Now, minor keys are one of the most popular tonalities we'll find used in a good deal of today's music, and this includes almost pretty much every style. If we started running through them, I could start calling them out: rock tunes, pop tunes, top 40, good deal of the country western songs. If we shifted over to Latin music, we'd find it there. Funk tunes have minor keys, soul numbers, R&B tunes, and a lot of other styles, of course, like jazz and even reggae music. So I could keep going on, but it's going to get kind of boring. So having a good understanding of how to compose in minor keys is absolutely essential. You need to know and understand how that works. As a guitar player, you'll want to have a pretty decent grasp of how all the minor progressions are also laying on the guitar neck, and how to understand the performance of chord changes that are going to be coming up from the minor key centers. So let's begin with some general theory regarding the way chords operate within the minor keys. Okay, so let's get started with understanding how to compose and work in the minor keys, so that when you come across minor key chord progressions, you'll have a good idea how they operate, and it's going to help you as well in developing a lot of your own chord harmonies in the minor keys. So what we've done is we've selected a key here. So this key we're going to be working in will be the key of E minor, and we're going to look at a chord harmony for the E minor key center. First of all, as you can tell on this music staff, you have triads stacked in the key of E minor. That means we have the tones of E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, up to the octave of E, and those are getting stacked in third intervals. You can see root, third, and fifth. In the case of the first chord, it's an E and a G and a B, and then we're just going to stack in thirds all the way across. When we do that, what happens is we form a chord harmony. So that means that we wind up with a specific selection of chords that are found in the key center. Now, you have to understand something, that when you're dealing with chord harmonies, they are going to operate the same for any minor key center. So, this movement of minor, diminished, major, minor, minor, major, major, this movement that we have is going to function for any key that you drop it in. We happen to be in E minor here, but it'll function the same way if you went to G minor or F minor or any minor key out there. Now, above that, we have this analysis breakdown, and this is what's referred to as harmonic analysis, and it's a Roman numeral breakdown of what's going on with the keys' qualities of chords. So we have this smaller Roman numeral identifying a minor degree for the one chord. This smaller 2 with the small degree symbol next to it is identifying that it's a minor chord with a lowered fifth, and that means it's diminished. The uppercase Roman numeral for 3 is identifying a major third degree. Smaller Roman numerals for the fourth and fifth steps are again both indicating minor. And then we have the larger uppercase Roman numerals for the 6 and the 7, once again identifying major chords. Now, with this stuff out of the way, and you're understanding now what you're looking at in terms of this harmony, the next thing that I want to do is I want to look at the primary chords that are found in the key. Now, every major key and every minor key has a group of what's called primary chords that are going to be built off the 1, 4, and 5. Now, these chords are really the foundational chords of the key. They're used in a lot of songs. You'll see a lot of 1, 4, 5 progressions out there, and it just anchors down the entire sound of the key center. With these 3 chords, you have every note of the scale, and everything is in there to anchor the sound of the movement strategies. We call those movement ideas tonic, subdominant, and dominant. Tonic chord is the family of the 1 chord. It's a place of rest where you can begin or end a progression. The 4 chord is a moving away feel. You can use it to move back to the 1 chord, but you can also go ahead to other chords as well. And then the 5 chord, that's the turnaround chord. It's also called the cadence, and that's what pulls you back to the 1 chord. And this is the same operation whether you're in major or minor. We just happen to be in minor in this case. Now, along with these primary chords, the 1, 4, 5, we also have a small group of substitute chords. Now, the substitute chords are the 3, 6, and 7, and they're based out of a principle called relative major minor. Now, if you don't know that information, maybe look up on my andrewwasson.com site where I have the search box, and you can search the entire sites. Both of my websites are searched through that search box, and you can find all the videos that I've put together over the years that are dealing with relative keys. It's a very interesting principle. I'm not going to get into it here. There's a lot of other videos I have explaining it. If you're not unaware of it, definitely research it and get your theory up to par on how it operates. But simply put, when you're on a major chord, if you go 6 tones higher, you get the relative. So G's relative, counting 6 tones higher, is E minor, and it's always the opposite quality. So if we're on a C chord, count 6 tones higher, opposite quality is A minor. If you're on a D chord, count 6 tones higher, the opposite quality is B minor. What this means is, in the minor keys, we can swap out the 3 chord for the 1 chord here and there if we want to. If we get bored of the use of the 1 chord within the song, we can swap out the 3 chord and it sounds good. And the same thing going with the 4 chord and the 5 chord, they can swap out for the 6 and the 7. And actually this is a very popular sound. You know, the use of the 6 and 7 chord in a minor progression is very popular. I'd almost say it's probably more popular than the use of the 4 and the 5. Now that's kind of subjective and it's a generalization, but I do see the 6 chord and the 7 chord used a lot. So anyway, this wraps up our general theory for how the minor keys operate. This is the chord harmony. You understand that now. You understand the principle of the substitute chords, so that's good as well. And now the thing I'd like to do next is head over to the studio and fire up the guitar and play you a few progressions that actually apply this 1-4-5 principle with the substitution concepts as well, and give you a chance to hear how all this works. So let's head over to the studio next. All right, we're going to get started in example 1 by running through the 1-4-5 relative minor applications using triad harmony. Now what's going on here is, see, minor chord progressions tend to follow much of the same 1-4-5 tonic subdominant dominant movement and structure as we find in our major keys. However, the minor keys will have more application of the minor tonality substitutes. Now this creates a pretty cool way for the resolutions to function in minor, and so the process of how this occurs is important to know and understand. In example 1A, we've got a typical 1-4-5 minor chord progression working in the key of E minor. It's going to be in the center of the neck here off 7th fret, 5th string root E minor chord. And then we're going to shift over, that's our 1 chord, we're going to shift over to the 4 chord down here off 6th string root with a 6th string bar chord, A minor, and then move that up a whole step to B minor. And that's our 1-4-5. Now in example number 1A, I've got a groove here. I'm just going to play this progression for you. It goes like this: 2, 3, 4. Right, so that's our E minor, A minor, B minor progression. Now in example 1B, we're going to go through a variation using some substitutes here. Now instead of playing the A minor and the B minor, the typical 4 and 5 chords, we're going to swap those out with a 6 chord and a 7 chord. So same progression, but instead of the A minor, B minor, we're using C major, D major. Here's how it sounds. This is in your handout under example number 1B. You can hear this on how it's so similar to what was happening with the 1-4-5. It has a very similar effect, and the only thing that's happened is we've changed into some substitution chords, and this happens a lot. I would say the 6 and the 7 chord motion in minor keys is almost one of the more popular ways that we're going to hear the resolutions moving through. So we'll take a short break, come back in a moment, and we're going to check out some relative minor applications using 7th chord harmony. We're going to bump it up a little bit and go into 7th chords from all these triads. The Creative Guitar Studio Music Theory course helps a student gain vital skills for understanding music theory. It covers interval design, chord construction for both triad and 7th chords, harmonized chord scales, chord substitution, and minor key theory. Each unit comes with a detailed handout with exercises to help learn all the principles. And there's even an answer key to make sure you did each study correctly. Plus, as a bonus, every music theory unit has an accompanying MP3 audio lesson program that you can listen to in your spare time. The music theory course is available for instant download in the View Our Products area at creativeguitarstudio.com. Well, now that you understand triad harmony and you've gotten a chance to listen to some jams through some progressions, let's move on to seventh chord harmony. It's quite simple how this works is we're just adding another chord tone onto the triad. So now we're going 1, 3, 5 in the terms of chord tones and adding 7. So now we have root, third, fifth, and seventh, which are just really just adding the seventh quality onto the chord names. It does change 2 of them though. We do have a little bit different chord on the second degree. It's now half diminished, or often called minor 7 flat 5. And we also have another new chord showing up on the 7th degree. It's a dominant 7th quality. Now, aside from that, the chords are still the same. We have minor, except it's minor 7, and we have a 3 chord off of the third step, which is now G major 7 instead of G major triad. Same thing's happening on the 4th and 5th degrees. They're now minor 7 instead of minor triad. 6th degrees, major 7 instead of major triad. And then we already discussed what's going on in different sense with that 7th chord having converted to a dominant 7th there. So now that you're familiar with the next level of harmony, 7th chord harmony in these minor keys, let's head back to the studio. Let's start jamming out a little bit on some chord changes that are going to employ these 7th chords now and give you a chance to hear how this stuff sounds. In example 2, we're going to take a look at the 1, 4, 5 relative minor applications, but this time using 7th chord harmony. So after you've become familiar with minor triad progressions, the next level harmony is 7th chords. And these 7th chord types, they're more commonly found in styles like maybe soul music or jazz, R&B, swing, or bop, or even some country swing blues. And their use can be very similar to that of triads, and the applications are going to be pretty much identical. The substitutions are going to function in a very, very similar manner, in other words. In the example progression I have for the first idea, it's an example 2A for you. It's just going to be the typical 1, 4, 5. It's going to be going from our root chord to the 5 chord, back to the root chord, and then over to the 4 chord. So E minor 7, the tonic to the 5th, tonic again to 4th. So it's really straightforward little groove there. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Right, so that's example 2A. Now let's take a look at example number 2B. In this one, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to add in some substitutes. We're going to go off that tonic chord E minor 7, and then we're going to shoot down into the 6th chord. So that's a substitute for a 4 chord. And when we do that, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. And then what we're going to do after that is we're going to move up a whole step and take the 7th chord. It's dominant 7th quality. In this case, in the key of E minor, it's going to be a D7. And then what we're going to do after that is we're going to head to an open E minor 7 chord. So we're just going to do that, idea in the first position there. So the changes are going to move like this: 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So it's a really nice sound. When you move into 7th quality chords, it takes on a really different color. So I think, just making sure that when you do your minor key applications, you don't get too stuck in only working in triads. Move over to the world of 7th chord harmony. It's a really good idea. Okay, we're going to take a short break now and come back in the members area with part 2. And in part 2, we're going to be taking a look at some more broad-based application, going through using a lot of the core topics that we've been working through so far, but just put it into a little bit larger, more generic application. And we're also going to bring in the harmonic minor harmony as well. And I think you're really going to enjoy that. That is a unique sound. We'll hear Santana using that sound a lot, and it's going to be found in a lot of styles. It's very cool to know about it. So we're going to do that in part 2. That's going to be found in the members area. I hope you're a member. I hope you have a membership to the site. It's really valuable to go through all the information on there if you want to really improve your guitar skills. So I'll catch up with you next in the members area. The Music Reading Phase 1 ebook has over 30 pages of comprehensive project lessons covering the entire fifth reading position on the guitar. Music reading charts and drills will work to help students memorize the positions of all the fifth position notes, including important sharp and flat tones. Several original and classic pieces of sheet music will help students to gain a solid understanding for this region of the neck. Rhythm studies, duration examples, plus song and location drills, along with 19 MP3 audio tracks, makes this one of the best music reading courses available. Music Reading Phase 1 is available for instant download in the View Our Products area at creativeguitarstudio.com. Well, thanks for watching part 1 of the lesson. Be sure to sign up for a membership at creativeguitarstudio.com to watch part 2. In the second half, we'll apply minor key harmony in an example progression, and we'll also bring in the very cool sounds of the harmonic minor scale harmony. Plus, as a member, you'll also be able to download the handout for this lesson plan. So I'll catch up with you next in the members area at creativeguitarstudio.com. Thanks for watching. Click here to subscribe to the Guitar Blog Update YouTube channel and never miss another video. Click here to sign up for your free membership to creativeguitarstudio.com. And if you take out a paid membership, you'll get premium content downloads of jam tracks, lesson handouts, and full access to all the members area video lessons.